Good evening and welcome to the Radical SR8 Championship. Round 5 takes us to the Circuit de la Sarve in Le Mans, France. And unlike the conventional format for this series, it'll be just the one race, 50 minutes long, with 25 points up for grabs. So whatever the point system that will be, we'll find out in due course. I am Tom Cairns in the commentary position alongside me, providing he is ready to talk at some point, is Jim Cunningham. We are in the early phase of qualifying. 20 minutes on it'll be this qualifying session because the circuit's layout with the lap times expected to be just under 4 minutes long, so it gives drivers enough time to get the laps in and determine the grid for the one and only race that is 50 minutes long, and we look forward to that. Here are the championship standings in the pros. John Hutchison leads the way by 4 points over Mike Booson, with Jack Veazey, who took his first win in this championship last week.
Test 1, 2.
Even Bremer. Now, that does include the drop rounds. So out of 5 rounds, or 4 rounds rather, only the best 2 have counted so far, even with the absences of the drivers involved. In the AMs, moving away from the pros, we see that Ben Underdown is leading the way by 16 points over Mendes de Grave. It's Stefan Mellis, the reigning champion, in 3rd position on 60. And it's David Walters in 4th. Michael LeMay in 5th position. It's Steve Webb, Tim Walters. Get-Jan Polman got off the mark last week after missing the first 3 rounds. Let's see how he gets on today. Darren Nunn made his debut last week and has got some points on the body with 26. It's Ben Gregory, Patrick Van Zambeek, and the likes of Josh Reed, Hayden Britton, and Rick Wisham haven't got a point yet. They haven't competed yet so far this season, despite registering. And we are into the early phases of qualifying. In fact, before we go to see who is doing well on circuit, we've got the calendar to perhaps run through. And there it is. There is the calendar for this season. We've been to Silverstone, Donington, Imola, and Charlotte Roval last time out. Today is Le Mans, and we head down under to Phillip Island. Then it's back to Europe at Zandvoort, and it's to the land of the rising sun at Suzuka, Japan. We head to the UK at Thruxton on the 6th of October, and the season finale being over the Monza historic configuration on October the 13th. It should be a very fun occasion, just as it was last season. Let's see some cars on circuit now, and we'll find out who is performing nicely on circuit. We did see the practice session momentarily, although lap times don't really tell us the whole story, because you don't know in terms of track evolution and who had the best track conditions for when they were out on circuit. No one has set time so far in qualifying, so we are just waiting on that time to come through. There we see Ben Underdown, who's performed brilliantly so far in the AMS this season. He's aiming for another top performance here. And Ben Underdown, the championship leader in the AMS, aiming to be fastest. And hello to Jim Cunningham, who's joined me in the studio, seemingly with his mic fixed whilst he was sorting out what's going on there. Jim, how are you?
Well, I'm good. I have a mic. I don't know. I think my volume is probably going to be low from this particular mic, but at this point, it's what we've got. Couldn't get my other one to work for some reason.
How have you been in the last week? Because we were treated to a nice affair at Charlotte Roval. Jack Veazey taking his first win, the second race being won by Paul Crubb, his first win in a while, and Luke Maxwell getting his season back on track with the race win in race number 3. What are we looking out for here? Because it's just the one race, 50 minutes long, with what I believe is maybe a slightly different point system to what would be for the feature race of race 3 for a conventional round. What are we looking out for here?
Well, I think a lot is going to depend on what they decided to do with the points. I went looking for it myself earlier, and I couldn't find the information. I'm sure they've shared it with the drivers, but so I'm not sure. I would think that this race is going to have to be heavily weighted since it's clearly just a one race this week.
Just looking back on the previous messages in the Discord, I'm sure someone did mention it. There will be a pit stop involved here at Le Mans, which is understandable because 50 minutes long they are setting lap times in under 4 minutes long. So in regards to the amount of laps we're going to have, it's either going to be 13 or 14 laps, which may not sound like a lot of laps, but on a course like this, it is definitely a lot of laps.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of laps. It's this is a long track. I'm these lap times are coming in 3.5 minutes or so per lap. So it's going to be quite the run.
And what I've seen, this was from John Hudson that said, I think prior to the round of Charlotte Roval, that couldn't create a separate point system for the endurance race because of something to do with the site of which they use to get the results put on with all the points allocated to the finishers. So to my understanding, I think it is 25, although there is a further, there was another message further down the line and saying that, let's see, so he did a little bit of experimenting, did John. It seems to have worked to have proper scoring for the next week. So say 50 for the race winner, 45 for second, 42 for third, etc. And I would assume it'll be 3 points difference for each position downwards from there, which is good news.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's going to be essentially a double race winner, which so that's going to it's going to be cool. It's like winning two plus a little bit, because if you win 2 races in a regular week, that's 45 points. So this is going to be 50. So yeah, it's going to be a nice points for this race. I'm excited. The fact that we've got pit stops, we never get to see that. And that can cause all kinds of drama if you come into pit road too fast, or if you underestimate your fuel. All kinds of different things come into play.
I am looking forward to it. It's going to be different. My worry with this format, though, is there's going to be a distinct pace difference between the drivers. There's going to be a lot of gaps in between the field, really, and it's going to make for on-track battling a little bit fewer and far between. But we'll see. I mean, if we see some drivers like from the pros drop down the order because they've messed up or they've collided with someone, they've got plenty of time to make it up. So at least they can treat it as some nice action further down the line. In case you're wondering how many are competing this evening, to my understanding, there are 16, 8 in the pros, 8 in the AMs, which is good to see. I think that's the biggest turnout of the season so far. So well done to all those making it here this evening. We are now in September, so there's perhaps no need to mention the summer holidays anymore, I suppose, because the kids are back at school, Jim.
Yep, everybody's back at school. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the reason the turnout is the biggest, though, is this is Le Mans and it's a special race. Kind of that mid-season race and the different format. I just think that kind of stuff draws people out, which is why they put it on the calendar to start with, is to, make it seem as something special, and it certainly is. It's our biggest turnout of the year. Like you said, if we've got 16 drivers, that's probably about 4 more than average. So that's really cool. And I do have the same fear that you do, that we're going to get, that the drivers are going to separate and we might not see as much on-track battling as we want because of the size of the circuit and the disparity in pace between the top drivers and the next set of guys. But the draft plays a big factor here as well, and so that could come into play too. That because of the draft, we may see some packs together a little bit.
I do have some gaming experience with the circuit. The first experience was on Race Driver Grid in the late noughties. Yes, I was in about 13 at the time when I was doing some racing around Le Mans. It was cracking, I have to say. And I think Codemasters, put together one of the best video games of all time that they've done. And that's not even a Formula One game itself. That's actually a very broad motorsport game compared to what they've also done. And Project Cars is another one I've had some experience on this track. I have to say, I do fall in love with this circuit. No matter what time of the year I do like to race in it, it is a gorgeous circuit to go to. Host of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, an event that's been going on since 1923, if I remember correctly. a long time.
Yeah, and this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, the site of, I think, the largest tragedy ever in motorsports. The incident that occurred here in, oh man, I'm barking a future here, really a historian, but I want to say that the race that occurred here back in the 50s, maybe,
Yeah.
where they had, I can't remember. I'm sure you can look it up. 20 or 40 something people died when a car went into the fans and crashed. It was a huge deal. They canceled the next year's race, until they could improve some of the safety stuff. It was a big deal. It was by far the biggest tragedy at one motorsports event ever.
Yeah. It's in 1955 where a Mercedes had crashed, basically, and that included the driver itself, Pierre Levere, and numerous spectators. At least 83 people were killed on that day.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I watched the footage of it the other night. I was watching some old historic shows and stuff about racing, and it showed the crash. And he went right into the fans, and the car just exploded. It was horrible, But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, what happened is that during the race, British driver Mike Hawthorne, 1958 Formula World Champion and Britain's first ever, he was in a Jaguar, and French driver Pierre Levere was racing in Mercedes-Benz, who were racing for the lead. Hawthorne had signalled to pit, which caused Levy to brake suddenly, and that led to Levy's car being struck from behind by another car. So Lever's car then launched into the air, impacted the barrier and exploded, sending debris, including engine and chassis parts, hurtling into the stands.
Wow, it was crazy. They've had some pretty wild crashes here over the years. They had that one car that got airborne.
Mark Webber, was it?
Well, it was actually. You're right. I should have known you'd know that. Yeah, I mean, this is a truly, if you think of the most iconic circuits of any kind of racing anywhere in the world, Le Mans has got to be in the top three. I mean, it's just one of those places, and that race is so famous. Even if people don't follow racing in any way, shape, or form, if you say the 24-hour Le Mans, they know what you're talking about.
And in case you're wondering why Formula 1 don't race here, I think it's simply because the straights are too long, and I think there's a regulation of 2 kilometres that a straight has to be, or can be, in order for a Formula 1 race to be held there, or for them to get that FIA Grade 1 licence, which I don't believe Le Mans has, although I would need to look that up. But if it was FIA...
I know that Fernando Alonso did I believe it was Alonso, did a demonstration drive here one year, but it was an exhibition thing. But just in a Formula 1 car, so they could. It was a couple-year-old car, I believe. But yeah, they did a little demo thing, exhibition, but no real race here for that.
No, and I think it's probably not a bad thing for Formula 1 to...
No, this is probably not a place that Formula 1 needs to come. This would be, in some ways, it would be like going back to the Nordschleife, I mean, I just... there's too much speed in those cars today for a track like this.
Yeah. And what's also worth mentioning is... obviously with the downforce levels with the cars, I think it's just dropped away from me. I can't remember what it was I was going to say. But when you drive a car around here like an F1 car, it stresses the power unit so much, it just wouldn't be able to do the mileage. So what's come back to me is that there should be a Formula 1 race in France. Because it just feels wrong that there isn't a race in France. That's my opinion, but I'm not saying that Le Mans should be the venue for it.
They don't have... I thought they had a race that was not too far from Monaco in France.
Paul Ricard.
Yeah. Is that no longer a thing?
No, they stopped racing there after 2022.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, as we've talked Le Mans history for a few minutes to get through this 20-minute qualifying session. We're down to the last 30 seconds, so I think we've probably seen most of the hot lap times, although Garrett von Pullman, I can't say his name now, is seems to be on a decent lap. Maybe he's going to jump up.
Well, he's just gone 9th quickest and 3rd in the AMS, says Gert-Jan Pullman with his latest lap. It feels like everyone has completed their runs, and so we can run down on the fact that Luke Maxwell gets the point for pole position. Well done to Luke Maxwell there, but I'm sure he'll want to get a whole lot more than just that and to come away still in the championship leads. Just waiting for the session 2 transition from qualifying into the race, and we can run down on the grid for the one and only race here at the Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans.
I think Stefan Mellis is the last car on track. I'm going to share something personal. He may not want me to do this, but he messaged me this week. We've talked over the years since I started working for JP Broadcasting. He and I were going to put together a NASCAR, European NASCAR league for JP Broadcasting, but we never got it to come together. But so he messaged me this week, and we were talking about the World Endurance Championship race here in Austin, and he mentioned in the thing that he's really struggling this season. In this league, last season he won the championship, and I guess this one is not living up to his expectations. And I didn't really get into it with him or give him any advice or anything like that. But I think he's struggling with the fact that his performance is not where he wants it to be, considering that he won the championship last year. I think he intended to have a better season.
Stefan Mellis has stopped on circuit, so I would assume that we are going to be switching from qualifying into the race 50 minutes ahead with a mandatory pit stop involved for the drivers. I'm not 100% sure on where we are with the fuel side of things. I suppose that could be just down to as of when the drivers choose to make their mandatory stops.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they are going to run... I read something in the conversation this morning that they're going to let the cars run full tanks. That may not be on the starting tank, but when they come in to fill up, I think that they'll be able to. There was some conversation in the Discord about being able to pit on lap 1 and make it if you filled the car up or something, but I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but so they were discussing that, and obviously they're putting a pit stop in here. I don't know if these cars could make it without one if you had a full tank, but I think throwing a pit stop in is cool, especially for a group of guys who don't normally make a lot of pit stops. I think that's going to be a fun and interesting challenge, in the overall spectrum of things.
And we look forward to this one, round 5 of the Radical SR8 Championship. If you have joined us in the live chat, we do welcome you.
I don't even have it pulled up yet. I need to do that. I was so busy chasing this microphone. I don't know why it's not opening up yet. That's it's acting funny. I don't. Maybe they're having a little driver's briefing or something like that.
Well, we'll see soon enough with the race around. And we're still waiting for the session 2 transition from qualifying to the race. I know it's just longer because of the fact that it's Le Mans and the lap times are a lot longer. We've reached 4 minutes since the checker flag has waved.
Yeah, I don't see any cars left on circuit. I think Mellis was the last one, and he's clearly off the circuit now. Yeah, I don't know. It'll come to us soon enough, though. We've gone through about all of our Le Mans history.
And everything you need to know. Well, going into next year's 24 Hours of Le Mans, Ferrari are aiming for 4 in a row. It was the number 51 that took victory in 2023 with Antonio Giovinazzi, James Collado, and Alessandro Pierguidi. In 2024, it was Antonio Frocco, Nielsen, I think it was, his teammate, and someone else was alongside. It'll come back to me at some point. Nicholas Nielsen.
Now, what was the guy's name? He also the ex-Formula One driver. That Quebeca or
Robert Kubica. Yeah, he won this year's one in the 83.
Yes.
Yeah, the 83 won this year's one. Robert Kubica, Yi Yiffy, and Philip Hansen.
So they're talking about that, the 83 is still in contention to win a championship, and it's a non-factory car, and that's something that's apparently extremely rare for a World Endurance Championship, for a car to win the championship that is not a factory-backed car.
I'm just looking at the results, because obviously we had the latest round in Austin, which was won by the number 6 Porsche in Hypercar with Kevin Estre, Lawrence Van Tor, and Matt Campbell, and how that affects things in the championship in that. Looking at the Hypercar series, which is, as we see the grid come up now, we'll come back to the World Endurance Championship stuff in a bit. Luke Maxwell on pole, ahead of Ivan Bremer. Then it's John Hudson and Paul Crabb on the second row. Jack Veazey and Mike Bousson going for more glory from the third row of the grid. Then it's Ben Hunters down the highest of the M's over Mena de Graaf in 8th. Gert-Jan Polman and Jamie Bird round out the top 10, followed by Paul LeMay next to his brother Michael LeMay. Both LeMays in the field, but they are in different classes to each other. Steve Webb and Darren Nunn on row 7. On the 8th and final row of the grid, we have got Stefan Millis and Tim Walters.
Yeah, this is, I'm so excited for this. I've been waiting for this one and historic Monza again all season. I'm very excited about this race.
In relation to the hypercar class in the World Endurance Championship, at the moment it's James Collado, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Alessandro Pierguidi in the 51 that is leading the way, albeit only by 15 points to their Ferrari sister team, or Ferrari sister car, the AF Corsa of Hansen, Kubica, and Yi.
All right, lights are up. Look at this. We're about to go here. Oh, that's right. We're rolling. It's a rolling start this week.
So it'll be a rolling start. Yeah, I don't think they do grids or standing starts for Le Mans races, purely for the reasons of, well, it's an endurance track and there's just not enough grid spots for the whole field to take up, which I suppose is only wise, but I'm sure the drivers won't mind it. It is just this one off race that they'll be doing a rolling start, but an opportunity to get some temperature into those tyres. If you remember back last week at Charlotte Roval, considering that the standing starts were on the bankings, or on the banking, it was very difficult to get off the line cleanly without spinning the rear tyres up.
Yeah, well, we've had a few issues this season. It seems like almost every week there's been some incident. Different drivers too. We had a new amateur driver that came in and had a week or two of rough starts, but we've had, if I remember, Paul Crabb had a really good start last week that caught the jump up front. And was it Paul Crabb? Yeah, I believe it was. But anyway, we've had several incidents this year. Might be interesting to see a rolling start. I do like the standing start. It adds a little extra drama to things.
Well, the cars are coming round the Corvette corner, and Mason Blanche in the quick chicane, and then it's the double chicane of the Ford and Recordman, and then we'll be gearing up for the one and only race for tonight, 50 minutes, with a mandatory pit stop included. We expect it to be around about 13 laps of racing here, so not too many laps, but they are going to be long ones for these drivers. So strategy is going to be a very key part in how both the Pro and the AM race result gets decided. And so we are waiting for the drivers to get back into their form. So two, the lights are coming on now, and we are gearing up to go here in Le Mans, and we are racing. And it's Luke Maxwell who leads the way over Ivan Bremer, with John Hodgson and Paul Crabb in 3rd and 4th positions as they look to make their way through the first part of the lap on straight through Ralentissio, and then as they head through Chapelle, and it'll be the Tetra Rouge before they approach the right-hander that leads onto the Mulsanne straight. That is the Farage, the Tetra Rouge. But so far, it is Luke Maxwell leading the way. Well, you can just see Bremer closing right up. The draft is going to be a talking factor, I think, in this one. Let's see how quickly Bremer gets by Maxwell on the Mulsanne straight. Here we go. Look, for the first time, Bremer tops up in the 6th of the championship leader, Luke Maxwell. And I think it's going to be a given here that Bremer's going to take the lead before they get to the first chicane of this long straight of Mulsanne, Jim.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. He pulled out quite early there. I would have figured he would have stayed back there just a little bit longer to, but I mean, he clearly made the pass. I would have figured he would have stayed a little bit longer. You got John McCutcheon right there, though. You got a feeling he's going to take this draft right here and use it to his advantage. Oh, somebody's
just
pulled
see
over the back of the field.
I think it's Michael LeMay. I think it is. Yeah, I think Michael LeMay has stopped on the exit of the first chicane. I don't know what's going on there. He's got going now, though. Yeah, I don't know whether he hit the ignition switch by accident and got going, but you can just see the top 4 nose to tail. Bremer heading through the second of the chicanes, the Ralentissio chicane. Well, there's 2 of those, and now they're heading down towards the right-hand of the Virage de Mulsanne. And it's down the Golf Straight that they'll be heading through. You can see Pullman and Bird have got slowdowns. I think that might be the reason why LeMay had slowed, Jim, is because he perhaps had a slowdown on the exit. He had to back out of it at some point. But there are the leaders. There's Hudson behind Maxwell coming out of Mulsanne. Now down through Golf they come before they approach the next braking zone of Indianapolis.
Yeah. I was looking at these cameras earlier, and I found a very interesting shot of Jamie Bird gets by Pullman.
And Maxwell's taking back the lead from Bremer, Jim, before they get to Indianapolis. So that is Bremer deciding to go back behind Maxwell. And you can just see Hudson Crabb and Mike Bousson has got involved here, and Jack Veazey. So the top 6 nose to tail. Ben Underdown is running the highest of the AMs in 7th place, and we've got Melody Golf in 8th position. It's Paul LeMay in 9th, and 7 miles running out the top 10.
Go back in. Oh, there I go. Famous for my slow motion replays. Take a look real quick here. Maxwell passing for the lead there. Yeah,
through the kink before they got to Indianapolis, and I think once Bremer knew that he was at a disadvantage and offline, there was no point trying to keep Maxwell back.
That is such a tight pass, you know. Especially in these cars, that's why they're going to get it done today. Unless, you know, maybe into some braking zones, but all these passes today are going to occur from drafting like that.
Out of the Ford chicane, through the last chicane of the lap, the recordman, and it is lap 1 done for the field, less than 4 minutes in. And Maxwell has got back into the lead before the lap was out. What can Bremer and Mahusson do to stay in touch? We'll find out as they come out of the first chicane of the course. That is the Dunlop chicane. And it's the Chapelle corner. They're heading through out of the Dunlop bridge. It seems to me like the behaviour's all so far. I mean, as expected, it is Lamont. Darren Nunn has got to slow down, and he's just backed out of it. And I think Michael LeMay will shortly go past him. Maxwell was able to build up a bigger cushion this time around, Jim, compared to the first lap over Bremer.
Yeah, I think I don't think we're going to see all these guys are fast, and these guys behind are going to draft off each other, and I think that they will stay in contact with the leader, as you can see here. They're closing back up again. I think that's going to be the game most of the day today. But Maxwell did seem very quick through that through the chicanes and through the start-finish line area.
Now the first Mulsanne chicane. And Maxwell is keeping his nose clear of the rest. You can just see the likes of Bird, Mellis and Pullman coming through. Paul LeMay and Jamie Bird are out of position, really, compared to where they need to be. Challenging the top 6. They won't be in any rush to get a move on here, not by any means, but they won't have many laps where they'll be able to make the most of the draft ahead. And there is Paul Crabb, not making... no need to rush things at the moment. Like you say, Jim, he's happy to just sit in behind Hudson. He won't want to battle with him too much, although Bremer, because he's in second place, can have a go at Maxwell again if he's feeling it, and see how effective the draft is becoming for the head of the field. And Bremer is going to head through, by the looks of it, very, very shortly. Won't do it into the Mulsanne bend, so he waits behind. And we've got Crabb and Buisson next to each other, and behind Buisson is Jack Veazey, who has impressed so far this season. He's got an opportunity to impress again this evening.
Yeah, he's been quite impressive. You know, I wonder if how much fuel strategy is going to play a part here. Sitting back there and drafting and saving fuel a little bit, and you know that could, with the amount of draft that you get here and how long periods of time it is, you could potentially save a decent amount of fuel, and that could certainly make a difference. You know, on your pit stop, you know, I don't know if it would make a difference enough to, you know, to get you out of the pits in front of somebody maybe, but with the draft, I don't know if, you know, in the end if that's going to make a huge difference or not.
Heading towards the right hand of the faster right hand, that is the Porsche Benz. And it's Pon, and it's the Karting S's before they get to Corvette and the Maison Blanche. Don't know for certain when they're going to decide to put in here. It'll be really interesting because this is a game of chess now, as it often, not often it is in this championship, because there's no pit stops or mandatory stops in the Radical SR8 Championship. But it's going to come down to who's going to blink first, or who's going to basically head for the pits first before the others, because it's a long lap, a lot of time can be made up, you're likely to get track position when you leave the pit lane, and you've got a chance of an undercut.
Yes, I think that you absolutely have to have somebody come pit with you though. You know, if you don't have a running buddy or two, I think you're going to lose a decent amount of time because not having a draft.
Well, the draft is not everything around this circuit, but it is a major element of which you can gain time at, unless you're the race leader, of course, Luke Maxwell, where he is punching the hole for the field to head through. And it's very much Monza-esque for Formula 3 drivers in how the draft has been given. Right on board with Jack Veazey, who's on the tail of Mike Buisson. Now, is he going to head through here? It doesn't look like Buisson's going to fight it that much with Veazey, although I think the fact that Veazey's pulled out the slipstream has reduced the effect on his car. He's going to have the inside by the time they get to the chicane, and Buisson wisely allows him to go through. He won't want to battle with him because they'll lose ground to the leaders up ahead. And then you can just see the two AMs of Underdown and De Graaf fighting over 7th and 8th. And it's a long way back, actually, to Paul LeMay and Jamie Bird.
Oh, that's a really bad spot to be there. Oh, he just, there it is. Well, yeah. Well, that's a classic Le Mans spin right there. I've spun so many times in that turn.
Well, he's continued on as Darren Nunn out of the Dunlop chicane.
No harm, no foul there. You got plenty of room to spin off in that area of the track.
As they come down through.
A lot of slowdowns today. A lot of slowdowns already.
Yeah, they're pushing ever so hard around the circuit, but there's a lot of runoff, but we are heading towards the right-hander of Mulsanne before heading on to Gulf. De Graaf and Underdown have done very well to stay in touch with the top 6, actually, because you never know how this could play out, and they're a country mile ahead over the likes of Gert-Jan Polman, who are sitting behind the two pros of Paul LeMay and Jamie Bird. So we're not seeing too much squabbling further down the order, although we are seeing Bremer going through on Maxwell again. Before they get to Indianapolis, Bremer goes through on his rival. And what about John Hodgson? Does he follow suit? The answer to that question is no, but Bremer takes the lead.
Well, I can impact the lead of the race by just taking the camera off the leaders, apparently. Every time I do, they pass each other.
Down out of Virage de Arnage through Buisson. How will they fare through Porsche here as they circulate their way through around this Circuit de la Sarve? The main course being 13.6 kilometers long, 8.4 miles if you prefer. It's a very long circuit, definitely too long for Formula One standards, but it does put on some cracking racing over the years, and it's quite a fun one to attend for the World Endurance Championship during the summer period. Right now, Bremer is in control of this over Maxwell and Hudson, Crab and Veazey, and Buisson still there. Steve Webb with a slowdown next to his name, so he will need to back off rather shortly. But we're now entering that 4, and we're approaching the quarter-way mark of this 50-minute endurance event here at Le Mans in the Radical SR8 Championship.
Have you been to Le Mans for the 24 hour?
I haven't, no. I'd love to, though.
Yeah, me too. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's not just the racing that I would go there to watch. It's all the, it brings such a party atmosphere to the venue. Does Le Mans.
I mean, I watched that special they did on the when the NASCAR people bought that car a couple of years ago, and there's a lot of things I didn't know. Like you bring the cars go through tech inspection like in the middle of town, and it's like a big all-day event, and the drivers are all out there signing autographs, and now look at these two bump drafting each other here.
There's Ben Underdown and Mendegraaff in 7th and 8th coming through. The first Mulsanne chicane. Out of the straights they come. If we are having audio issues at the moment, we do apologise. I'll let Jim have a look at that in due course. But for now, we're focusing on the battle between Underdown and De Graaf for position in 7th and 8th. Is De Graaf going to find a way through on Underdown? It doesn't feel like he's ready to pounce just yet, and now I think he's just sensibly holding back. I think they've bridged out a gap now to the top 6, knowing that it is not their battle.
Yeah, as far as the audio issues, guys, I'm having I had mic problems and I had to switch mics, and this mic I'm using is just not near as strong as the other one, so I have it right in my face and I'm talking as loud as I can, and it's a real struggle, but I apologize for that.
Tim Walters has been in some form of trouble on this lap because he's got a black and orange flag next to his name. We see Buisson go through on Veazey for 5th place. We're going to see why Walters has that flag. I think he's going to go. Yeah. He's gone into the barrier, is he? No, he's only just. Oh, hang on a second. What has he managed to do here?
Oh, no.
Oh, Tim. Tim.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, at least they'll make his mind of when to pit in.
Yeah.
He can use this as his mandatory start, but he's lost a lot of time thanks to that.
Yeah, the tow alone from there is going to be quite
Back at the front, Bremer leading ahead of Maxwell and Hudson, and it's Crab in 4th place, and it's Buisson and Veazey next behind. And then we've got Jamie Bird and Paul May swapping positions. And that's Bird through into 9th position, 7th in class. And that's a nice overtake there from Jamie Bird, who is yet to win a race yet this season. He came close to last week in one of the races at Charlotte Roval before he threw it all away at the infield.
Yeah, he was very fast though. All weekend he was all race. All 3 races there. He was quick though.
Back at the front, you can see the top 6 in your picture as well as Underdown and De Graaf. We're on lap number 5 out of what we expect to be 13. It looks like Bremer has this one under control at this moment in time. But what can Maxwell, Hutchinson and co do? We're not seeing a lot happening at this moment in time. But Bremer has a chance to win again this season. He won at Silverstone. Can't remember whether he won again later in the campaign. I think that might be his only win so far for Ivan Bremer. But he has got the pace and the potential to go and win second time around.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at some of these comments. They said the cars are too loud also. I can turn the cars down a little bit.
Everyone in here at Le Mans. Ivan Bremer half a second clear over Maxwell. Hutchinson in 3rd place. This is the closest that Hutchinson has been to Maxwell for some time now. Sure, he's got to think when he's going to decide to go through. Now, John Hutchinson, believe it or not, has only won once this season. Maxwell, to my understanding, is the only driver in the pros anyway to have won on multiple occasions. He won one of the races last week. He also won at Imola.
You said Maxwell? I'm sorry, I was tinkering with the microphone. Luke Maxwell?
Yeah, Maxwell.
Yeah, he's the only one, I believe.
Yeah, he's won on multiple occasions. John Hutchinson's only won once this campaign. That victory coming, I believe, I think it was at Imola where he won out. He definitely didn't win last week, and he wasn't around for Donington either. It was John Hutchinson, so he's definitely got a challenge on his hands if he's going to retain his championship title this time around. This is Steve Webb and Michael LeMay over at Dunlop Corner. And it looks like they're going to come together. They actually don't touch. It was almost synchronized drifting.
That's exactly what that was.
They got away with it either way. No contact done to either car. Down in 13th and 14th places, and you can just see the top 5, and I think Jet V's is broken away from that. To be fair, it's probably not a bad thing or the worst thing in the world, but he's back there. At least you can just watch how this is all playing out. You can see Bremer running wide a little bit, coming out of the corner there.
That could be bad for V's, though. He doesn't want to lose touch with this group because there's too much of a draft here. You got, 6 cars here, 5 or 6 cars in a row here like this. That's punching a pretty big hole in the air.
He's doing fine so far, keeping his nose out of trouble. Just bear with me one moment, because I've managed to separate the timing page to the Discord screen. With it being Apple, I think I've accidentally switched it between different desktops, you see. So I'm just doing my best to get that back in picture for you. But right now it is Bremer leading, and Maxwell, Hutchinson, Crab, Buson and Feezy in your top 6. And we're right on board with John Hutchinson. As he enters lap number 6, we're approaching nearly the halfway point here at Le Mans. We do welcome you in the live chat. We do apologise for the audio issues earlier on, but hopefully they've been rectified and you can hear us properly now. But what can Hutchinson do here from 3rd position?
Well, I think right now he's just trying to stay, in touch. And like I said, down these straightaways, he may be trying to save a little fuel. But, I think this is all going to come down to the last lap or two. Just being in a position to make that move when the opportunity presents itself.
Down the middle was also the John Hutchinson's got a slowdown, which is not good news. Michael LeMay has come into the pits.
That is a bad spot to pick up a slowdown right there. He's going to lose that a lot of time.
Yeah, and he's going to end up being swamped, I think, by Boosson. You can see that big gap now between himself and Luke Maxwell. Steve Webb is the latest to have a slowdown. Hutchinson is being overtaken by his Radline teammate, Mike Bousson. So we've got second, third, and fourth who are the Radline drivers.
Well, that's actually good because they can all hook up and get back up there to the front. Because you don't want to be out there solo. I'm telling you, it's not going to be good.
And Maxwell is thinking about it with Brummer. Surely he must be close enough to go for an overtake. He won't do it into the second chicane, but Hutchinson is coming back through on Bousson. Bousson deciding that he's not going to hold back Hutchinson here. He allows him through. And I think it's going to be the wise thing here for Bousson to allow Hutchinson to just pull him along and get back towards the top two again before they all start pitting.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to when they are going to pit. Like I said, I don't know what the strategy is, but I got a feeling that it's going to be a big amount of follow the leader. When somebody comes in, I think that you're going to have 2 or 3 guys at least come with them so they can stay together. To put this in a reference that that will apply more to American oval racing, like if you try to pit on the green at Daytona and you don't have a running buddy or two, you're going to lose you have a draft and they'll just eat you up. And I think this place is going to be very similar to that.
You just saw Bousson all over the gearbox. A little bit of dust being kicked up from the pairing of either Bremer or Maxwell.
Real quick back here.
This is Stefan Mellis. This is over at Indianapolis corner, and he's behind his old adversary, Gert-Jan Polman. Yes, I am going to use that for this particular instance. But these two are fighting for his third in class, neither of which are the leader. Gert-Jan Polman's making up for lost time after missing the opening 3 rounds. He did compete last week in Charlotte Roval, did rather well, but he needs a lot more rounds to rescue his season. And you can just see a gap of nearly 3 seconds opening up between Maxwell and Hutchinson. If you're Maxwell, do you decide to put in this lap?
No,
he doesn't.
Obviously not. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think if you're Maxwell, you pit until Bremer pits. Because you're not guaranteed that anybody behind you is going to come with you.
Well, one driver is taking that risk. It's Jack Veazey, and I can't blame him at all because he's been sat behind the top 5 all this time, and now he's taking the opportunity to do a pit stop, a rarity in the Radical SR8 Championship. Will Veazey get out in front of Steve Webb? He'll be coming through the last couple of chicanes. Don't think he's going to, so he'll rejoin behind Steve Webb. But he should rejoin clear of Darren Nunn, who will be making his way through. There we see Ben Underdown and Amanda de Graaf fighting over 6th position and the leadership in the AMS. De Graaf got ahead of Underdown actually not too long ago. I don't know when he did it, but he's ahead of him now. He's got a chance to come away with the victory this evening, but Underdown isn't having any of it, and he's coming back and he's going to get him before the first Mulsanne chicane. Although he's surprisingly backed out of that. I thought he would just remain committed and be allowed through by de Graaf, but de Graaf decided that he was coming back and Underdown backed out of it.
Yeah, that was interesting. I'm not sure if he was just trying to show him his nose and see if he was going to react to it. I'm not sure there. That was interesting. They are running nose to tail, though. Here he comes again on the outside.
And Underdown goes through here on de Graaf. And Bousson has got a slowdown lap, a slowdown to his name. And he is now dropped behind Paul Crabb for position. And Jim needs to turn himself up according to JP. So we'll get Jim onto that. Even Brummer will
Sorry,
be.
guys. I've got no mic. This is it. This is all the volume I have. We're having mic trouble. I switched over to this one. I apologize.
Even Brummer isn't too far away from thinking about a pit stop at the moment, and the same for Luke Maxwell, John Hutchinson, Paul Crabbe, and Mike Bousson. It's just who's going to take the risk here. Well, Jack Veazey is 2.5 seconds behind Darren Nunn, so he might get a draft at some point. As the leaders get to see Bousson running wide there through what I believe was Indianapolis, and I was lucky to survive that. But Bousson, he's pushing ever so hard, but he has been getting a lot of slowdowns in this race so far.
Yeah, I tell you what, I didn't really realize the track limits were that tight here. You know, I've done a lot of laps here, and I just don't recall getting that many slowdowns. It's I'm a bit surprised by that. I really did not feel like that they were that tight.
You can see the clouds gathering over the circuit as well. I don't know how much of an effect they'll have on the drivers, maybe in regards to their braking points or something. But either way, they are getting on with the job, and we should start to see some pit stops happening involving the field. And it looks like Underdown's going in.
There's a 52% chance of rain.
Well, if it does rain at some point in this race, that's going to throw another spanner into the mix.
Well, I wasn't even sure that Radicals had rain tires.
We'll see soon enough. I mean, just because it rains doesn't mean it necessitates switching to wet tyres. Underdown, Mellis and Webb are all in.
There we go. Yeah. Yep, here we go.
At the end of lap 7. And we are seeing the AMs making their move.
Yeah, the whole field's kind of starting to spread out just a little bit here. Got McCutcheon and Crabbe here. They're almost 4 seconds back now. Probably don't need to be doing that if they want to catch the leaders.
The field are just coming through the first chicane again. As we watch, we've got another slowdown actually for.
Bousson
is that
again.
Bousson? It's Bousson again. Yeah, at the chicane.
Yeah, he's got a line through there. Obviously, that's not working. McCutcheon just picked up one too. Oh no, that's never mind. I'm sorry, that's Minnow DeGraff. Yeah, these guys must be running a line through there that iRacing doesn't like.
Lindsay Graf with a slowdown next to his name, as well as Mike Bousson. Darren Nunn has exited the pits from his stop, which has released Jack Veazey. So Veazey's got the track to himself at the moment. I don't know how he'll be feeling at this point in time, but he's just eagerly waiting for the field or his rivals to make their moves, and then we'll know if there'll be any changes to the pecking order. I don't expect Jamie Bird to make up any positions. So we see Paul Crabbe run over the gravel or go through the gravel, and Hutchinson is right there. I don't know where he got by Hutchinson on this lap, but Crabbe is ahead of Hutchinson, and it looks like Hutchinson's going to go back through, and Crabbe isn't going to fight this time around.
Yeah, I mean, he had a pretty bad twitch there when he got back on the accelerator, so that obviously didn't help his situation at all.
Right on board with Paul Crabbe as they exit the right-hander after Indianapolis. That is known as the Donage corner, and this is the Bousson straight, ironically. It's spelt differently though, I'll tell you that. But Bremer is, well, he's pretty much got Maxwell looming in behind here, and Bremer cannot afford any mistakes. We know Bremer is prone to mistakes for time and time again, but this is a chance for him to show that he's still got it and he can basically hack it under pressure, because a number of occasions when someone is closing up behind, he's not able to defend well, and sometimes doesn't compete well when things aren't going for him. Don't know what he'll make of that.
Yeah,
Are they both in?
Yeah, here they come. It would not surprise me at all to see McCutcheon and Crab duck in here as well. Yep, there they come.
Well, yeah, what about Buson? Is he heading in?
Yeah.
Oh, Bremer's coming too quickly. He's coming too quickly. It's even Bremer. And this goes back to what I was saying about being prone to mistakes. And this one has cost even Bremer dear.
Dearly, yep. That's going to be a 40 second hold for speeding?
Well, if that is the case, I don't know. I don't know if it's a stop and go.
It's crippling. No matter what it is, it's devastating.
Well, they can see they're all right at the end of the pit lane. I think that's because of where they ended up grid position wise. But Maxwell and even Bremer, he'll be kicking himself with that. That was a costly error that wasn't needed. And yeah, I don't think I need to say anything more than that.
No, it's devastating for sure. Absolutely. Yep, he's just sitting there.
Well, it's certainly going to allow Jack Veazey through, because he's coming down the pit straight now. Is Jack. And you can see the field coming out of the pit lane. They're not going to be at racing speed. Veazey will be. And Veazey is ahead of Menard de Graaf. He's well and truly ahead of Ivan Bremer.
Yeah, but he's still 7 seconds behind the Buson and 10, 15 seconds behind the leaders. So he certainly didn't really undercut there too much, maybe a little. He had lost contact with the lead group. But if I'm being honest, I don't really seem like remembering that he was 15 seconds back when he pitted.
And there we see the top two now, Maxwell and Hutchinson. Hutchinson up into second place, but he's nearly 5 seconds behind Maxwell. It feels to me like Hutchinson is happy to come away with a second place finish this time around, considering the point system for this particular occasion. Paul Crabb, who won one of the races last week, feels that he can get second place out of this, and he's into the slipstream of Hutchinson. Is he going to go for it though by the time they get to the second chicane of the lap, or the second Mulsanne chicane I should say? He's not going to go for it this time around. He waits back.
These guys need to absolutely go nose to tail and hook up and try to put down the fastest laps they absolutely can. And they need to not worry about passing each other. I know that McCutcheon wants to win this race, especially with the prominence that it has in the, in this season, because it's different. It's a different format, and it's Le Mans. They can't wait for Maxwell to make a mistake up there 5 seconds ahead. Those two need to just get nose to tail and just pick him up and put him down. He's up there running by himself. They can make up a second a lap on him if they try.
Well, there is the second and third place drivers in Hutchinson and Crabb. Crabb basically bump drafting.
That's what they need to do right there.
Well, yeah, it is, but there comes a point where Crabb won't want to sit behind Hutchinson for too long. And we've got a couple of black and orange flags for Menard de Graaf and Jamie Bird.
Oh, my goodness.
What have the pair of them been up to? Let's see. This is de Graaf, and I think he's behind Jack Veazey here. And has he gone a little too deep? Has he caught the gravel? Oh, he spun. Oh, he took Jamie Bird with him. He drifted and took Jamie Bird with him, did Menard de Graaf. That was the error. And both of them will be in the pits for repairs.
Yeah, that's some bad luck for Jamie right there. Kind of a blind corner. And, oh, man, that is so tough. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. Let's do this. And we're going to click over here to Jamie Bird. And we'll see what he saw there as this all happened right in front of him so fast. Just round the curve they go, and
Bird didn't do anything wrong.
no, certainly not. But he had a little more. He had a little more vision on it than I thought he was going to. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a little more blind than that. These two back here swapping spots again.
They are, but DeGraaf will be in the pit lane at the end of this lap. The car is too badly damaged from the contact, and yeah, he's going to be in. And there goes his chances of winning the AM race here today.
Yeah, it looks that way. So I'm looking here at the lap times, and to be honest, Luke Maxwell's running. Well, that was their pit stop lap, I guess, was their. So we'll have to wait and see here what happened. Oh, these two have split apart now.
Well, Hudson and Crab have been able to separate. Mike Bouson's a long way back in fourth.
Yeah, that's way back. He's another 5.5 seconds back there, as you can see, way back in the background. If I'm McCutcheon, I might even just slow up just the tiniest little bit and let Crab catch me, which I think he might be doing.
I mean, we'll have a look on the lap times when they cross over the line.
Well, you know what we need to look at? We need to look at the sector times.
Well, that is a possibility.
Yeah, let's look at the sectors. This will give us. No, we don't want those though. We want McCutcheon. Hold on.
I can say there are 7 sectors for the lap.
No, it's all right. This will give us an idea here. We'll watch this real quick. They've caught up now. So now I'm gonna flip it back over here, and we'll watch to see if McCutcheon is gaining on Maxwell at all when these two are running together. Yeah, it'll shuffle through the sectors. See how it'll go like 4 or 5, then it'll get rid of the first ones.
They can see that Maxwell's pulled away in the first sector. Hutchinson's been able to respond in sectors 2 and 3, although it was identical actually, sector 3 times between Maxwell and Hutchison.
It really was identical.
And Hutchison has been able to respond, so you have to say comprehensively over the course of the last lap, if not this one, where Hutchison's been able to gain some ground. And whilst we say that Stefan Millis is back in the pit lane, it looks like he's had a crash on circuit.
We'll go look at that real quick and come back to this. But yeah, they're definitely gaining time on him. We probably don't want to do the Enquires.
This is over at the second Mulsanne chicane, and yes, he did crash. I say he crashed, he just spun and then went back to pit lane.
Yeah, but why would he jump back to pits if he just spun? That's a tow, though. Why would you do that? Strange. Okay.
Well, there we are. We're looking at Hutchison and Crab on the circuit. I don't know if these are live images of these two. No, these are live pictures. So we can have a look on the comparison now, because Hutchison, not too long ago on this lap, was running about 4.1, 4.2 seconds behind Maxwell, but he has gained on him on this lap. So in sector 6, he gained nearly 2 tenths. So over the course of this lap, as we see the field cross over the line, or the top 2 head over the line, Hudson is definitely getting the gap down. I think he gained like 3 tenths on that, about half a second on that last sector alone, Jim. So if you got a combined total of how much Hudson has gained on Maxwell over the course of that last lap, on lap 10, I'm sure he's gained over a second on Maxwell. 100% certain of it.
Let's see, we're going to hold on real quick. We'll hide this. And so that's lap times there. Unfortunately, it's a little off the screen.
That's Hutchison and Crab.
Oh, it is, yeah. It was still off screen. I can work on trying to fix that, but it'll take a minute to get it over.
So, looking at the lap times here, I mean, Maxwell, we can't really see.
Yeah, I'm going to get it. 1 second.
By the way, Hudson is closing in. 2.5 seconds is the gap between Maxwell and Hudson. With only 3 laps left here in Le Mans. Is Maxwell going to take another victory? And another one going begging for John Hudson? Or has the reigning champion still got something in his locker? As you see, the moment he touched that curb there out the first chicane, he slid a little, and it cost him some crucial speed down the Mulsanne straight.
Yeah, and to be honest, and this is no insult at all to Paul Crabb in any way, shape, or form. I think that Paul Crabb is having a hard time staying within the track limits, and keeping up with John. Like right there, he caught that curb and just spun. That's going to be devastating for Crabb's day, in a sense that he's absolutely lost McCutcheon now, and McCutcheon doesn't have a running buddy anymore. So I think when it's all said and done, I think this is going to level out up here, and McCutcheon is probably not going to be gaining as fast on.
Oh, he nearly dropped it. He very nearly dropped it, did John Hudson, out of the Mulsanne corner. And that could have ended up in a similar fashion to how it ended there for Paul Crabb.
Yeah, that was close. That was a nice save. These cars are twitchy when you're at a pretty good clip already and you hit a curb or anything and you get back on the accelerator, because they're just so light and they got pretty stiff suspensions on them. So it's so easy to have that rear end hop out like that on you.
It's very easy to do. They are very nimble, these machines.
Oh yeah, very.
And they're very, if you go over the curb a little bit too much, then it's very easy to drop it. But Hudson's got a grip on the situation, and he's getting on with the job and going after Luke Maxwell. But he's only got a couple of laps to go after this one. But they are long laps, these. But he's not going to have a lot of chances.
He's cut the gap down in half. He's down to less than 3 seconds now. He was at over 5 a little while ago.
Yes, but he has lost time on this lap, because he was around about 2.4 off Maxwell at the beginning of this one. But it's now 2.7.
Well, that twitch certainly cost him those 0.3 for sure, if not a little more.
Can John Hudson use all of his experience and go after his Radline teammate and rival for the title, Luke Maxwell? Mike Bousson looking good for a podium. It looks a little bit unlikely. Now Jack Veazey's got by Paul Crabb, and I think Paul Crabb is really beginning to struggle now, because he's now got damage to his car, and that'll be him off into the pit lane.
Is he pitting? Oh, how did he get he had another crash, huh?
Yeah, he had another crash on that last lap there.
I hate to do this, but let's go see what happened to him.
This is coming through Porsche, I think.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, he dropped it horrendously.
Oh yeah, big wall hit right there. That's a tough shot right there. Yeah, that tore that car up. I mean, the only good news about that crash is that it happened right by pit road entrance, so he didn't have to tow back. But other than that, it's horrible.
And then de Graaf's got another slowdown to his name. All of this has allowed even Bremer to move up into 8th place overall. He has got 6 seconds to make up on Gert-Jan Polman, if he can recover from that. And he's running out of time. Paul May, who's quietly made his way up into 5th position, has got a slowdown, which has gone away very, very quickly.
Well, it's some places you get lucky and you're going into the chicanes or something, and you can snuff off one of those slowdowns without too much trouble. But if you catch one heading into one of these long straightaways, that'll burn you pretty bad, just like it did earlier in the race for I can't remember who it was now. So we're still at 2.85 seconds. Yeah, he's struggling now to close the distance without a running buddy.
The gap is stagnating. Just don't think Hudson's got anything left to catch Maxwell. I think he's content to finish in 2nd place. He's got no one around him. And Maxwell, he's got everything to gain, really, to keep his realistic hopes in the championship. alive. I don't know what his schedule will be in regards to missing races, if he is going to be missing any, because we know that Matt Hodgson missed one of them this season. Maxwell, well, he's just... Oh, no, he did miss one. He also missed Donington because Mike Bousson was the only red line driver to compete.
That's right.
In Donington that round. Closest battle we've got on circuit, I can tell you, is between Evan Bremer and Steve Webb. But I think on paper, Evan Bremer should be able to pull away from Webb and go after Pullman. But he's actually losing time to Pullman. So this they could be a genuine battle between Bremer and Webb. Mondegraaff with another slowdown to his name.
Yes. Well, they're piling these slowdowns up.
I will give a shout out to Steve Webb today, Jim, because we haven't spoken enough about him in this one. I mean, the only mistake he's made in the race was when he had that synchronized drifting with Michael LeMay at the Dunlop chicane.
Right.
And apart from that, he's not really put a foot wrong, and he's keeping up with Evan Bremer.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's running a good race here today. Yeah, it's great. That's actually really good to see. Apparently, he must like Le Mans. You know, this track fits certain people, and other people just don't go around here too well. You know, clearly Luke Maxwell likes it a lot.
Luke Maxwell has started the final lap of the race. Didn't see the white flag come out though from the Marshall point, but judging by the lap times, it should be the final lap.
No, yeah, it will be. You're right. Right?
Yeah, well, we'd normally see the white...
I need to stop trying to do math. You're the math guy.
Well, lap times we're looking at best 3 minutes 48. Right. And they went over the line with something like 3 minutes 10 to go.
Right. Yep.
So this will be the last tour, or at least it should be, for Luke Maxwell, as he heads out there. He won't want to exceed track limits too many times through the right-hander lead on to Mulsanne. It's been a great performance again from Luke Maxwell, and a very mature one from pole position. And John Hutchinson, I think, has played a sensible game today. I think his qualifying wasn't particularly as good as he had hoped, and I think second place is something he would have taken at the beginning.
Yeah, I think he would have said he would have been satisfied with second. There's no doubt he wanted to win this race. But, I mean, Luke Maxwell, he did something I didn't think was really going to be possible here. He got out there in front by himself and stayed there and stayed in front. And I really thought that a couple of cars hooked up together could have caught him. And I think that Crabb and McCutcheon, had they been able to stay together and run like that, I think that they would have eventually caught him. But at this point, Luke's out there just killing it by himself now. Well, kind of everybody's running by themselves, really. The field is really spread out here for this last lap.
The field is spread out. Paul Crabb with another slowdown, running in 13th position behind Jamie Bird. Now, we spoke about the point system earlier. It would be 50 points for the race winner, 45 for second, 42 for third. I think it's a 3-point difference for each position down from there. But either way, it's been a strong drive for Maxwell. So he would get 50 points. Hutchinson 45, Bousson 42. Veazey and Son will get 39. And it'll be LeMay with 36. Underdown will collect a very useful 33 championship points. LeMay with 30. Pullman with 30. Yeah. Bremer will get 27. Webb 24. That's Michael cool. LeMay 21. Menedigroff 18. Jamie Bird 15. Paul Crabb 12. Tim Walters 9. Darren Nunn 6. And Stefan Millis 3.
Man, that's a really nice points day for Webb. He really did turn it and have a really, really fantastic day today.
And Mike Bousson will be happy with his performance, despite the few slowdowns he's had. I will say, though, I'll be honest, it's not been a classic race here at Le Mans. It was worth giving it a go for this particular purpose, but I definitely would not want this on the wish list for next season. But we've got the leaders coming through the last sequence of corners for the last time in this race, and Luke Maxwell has done everything right as he heads towards the last couple of chicanes of Ford and Recordmont, and it's going to be a brilliant victory for both him and for the Red Line team once again. Luke Maxwell goes through the last chicane and he wins in Le Mans in the Radical SR8 Championship ahead of John Hutchison, less than 4 seconds behind. But a win is a win for the man who started from pole and has converted it into the win. John Hutchison second, and Mike Bousson ensures that Team Redline monopolise the podium here at the Circuit de la Sarve. Jack Veazey is fourth, ahead of Paul Lemay in fifth position. And then we'll look to the AMS as Ben Unsdown comes out on top once again. A super drive, sixth overall, but winner today in the AMS. Gert-Jan Polman second in that respective category and seventh overall. And then we see Ivan Bremer, after being in the lead for a little bit, penalised for speeding in the pit lane when he came in for his stop. That dropped him down to 8th. And Steve Webb, one of the drivers of the day for sure, and finishing on the podium in the AMS. Michael LeMay, 10th position, and it's Mena de Graaf with the likes of Jamie Bird, Paul Crabb, Tim Walters, Darren Nunn, and Stefan Millis, the rest of those to finish.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was, like I said, it was an interesting race. It was fun. Yeah, probably, maybe these cars aren't best suited for this track, you know.
We're just waiting for the final drivers to come over the line. Stefan Millis is only just coming out of the Dunage corner. He's on the Bousson straight. But at least he's bagging some points. 3 championship points, I believe, for this season. Well, for this season from this race, which will probably go towards his drop scores because it has not been a good night's work for him after that spin at the second chicane.
Yeah, he's well, that was close right there.
Yeah, but he is bringing the car in. Here's Stefan, and yeah, I think this one will be very much a write-off for him. We'll run down on the race results very, very shortly once Stefan crosses over the line. We have got drivers waiting in. But we'll run down on the race result once this man takes the checker flag, and he's done so now. After the 50-minute endurance event in the Radical, here is today's race result. Luke Maxwell taking the win ahead of John Hutchison. Third place going to Mike Bousson. All 3 Red Line cars in the top 3. Jack Veazey in 4th position. Then it's Paul LeMay in 5th. Ben Unsdown, the winner in the AMS, in 6th. With Gert-Jan Polman in 7th. And 2nd in the AMS, Ivan Bremer recovering to 8th after speeding in the pit lane earlier on. Steve Webb rounds out the AM podium ahead of Michael LeMay and Mena de Graaf, who should have won in the AMS, in my honest opinion, had it not been for his error. Jamie Bird, another day to forget for him. The same for Paul Crabb, with Tim Walters, Darren Nunn, and Stefan Millis, the rest of those to finish. That was a very interesting race there at Le Mans, a different experience for the drivers, and we have some waiting in the interview room. We'll bring the first of those in. We'll speak to the man that's finished in 3rd position. That is Mike Bousson. How are you today?
Very well. Good evening, chaps. How are we?
That was a different experience, don't you think?
Oh, what an experience, I tell you. I enjoyed it, but I can understand. It was like watching the F1 and the DRS train at points.
That's probably the perfect analogy.
Is anyone going to go? Or are they just going to fuel save? But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different experience. I mean, it's joyful watching the cars going down the Mulsanne straights, but it just felt really procession type. I said to Jim that I don't think it would be one on my wish list for next season's calendar.
No, you've got a few cars in front of you in a little pack, and if you're just ever so slightly off that pack, you can. They just pull away from you still. So half a second, and you could start falling off the back quite quickly. So you've got to make it up in the braking, because they start to go into very cautiously into the braking, so you couldn't make it up there. But that, and I was still learning where all the slowdowns were, so that caused me a bit of issue. So
Well, you found a few of them. You identified
Yeah.
a couple.
Well, yeah, once I'd fallen off the pack, obviously it was hard, you know. I was fast, and I was sort of slowly, I think, clawing back some time on Mr. Crab up, because I was being so aggressive with the tight stuff. I just went a bit deep and lost a few seconds. I thought, wow. Obviously, quite kindly gave up a place, so I'll give him that. So there we go.
We've reached the halfway point in the season now, Mike. How do you rate your season? Do you think you've made a step up from the previous?
Yeah, definitely. My points tally would tell me so. Atrocious race last week, chucked away, obviously, 3 very good results. So I'm sort of still reeling from that slightly, but you know, this track, obviously, you've got to be careful, because if you do anything wrong early on, then you might as well, should I dare say it, quit out and go and have an early night sort of thing. But I don't know what tracks are up next.
It's Phillip Island next. It's a fast-flowing circuit.
It's a good track generally for me. I haven't driven it in the SR8 for a very long time, I don't think. But
should be a great track combo though for this car or that track. I think it's gonna be a nice fit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, should get some good racing from that.
Anyone you want to shout out to, Mike, before we let you go?
We give it to Paul for letting me have an extra position towards the end of the race. I appreciate it. I probably need the points. So thank you, Mr. Crab.
And thank you very much, Mike, for turning up today and finishing on the podium. Good stuff.
Pleasure. See you next time.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
We'll speak to someone that's finished on the podium in the AMS. That is Steve
That'll be interesting.
Webb. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
Truthfully, I'm absolutely paggered after that.
Oh, man, I mean, to be honest with you, it was an enduring race. I will be honest with you. I mean, me and Jim were just trying to come up with things to speak about, because there wasn't an awful lot in that race itself. But at least you've had the experience of giving the SR8 a go this time around, compared to maybe what you're used to on iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, GT3s are the normal, traditional stuff that we do. But jumping into these, it's a whole new way of driving. And as you've seen, oh, thanks for letting me know it was a rolling start tonight. I've been practicing my standing starts, only to come in, and then it's a rolling start. Because I'm thinking, this week I'm not going to have them taking the mick out of my starts. And then what do? You throw a rolling start in.
All right,
But
that's the funniest thing I've heard in a while, right there.
But it's been an absolute, honestly, and I've just said this to John, and this is one of the most friendliest leagues that I've been involved in. You know, I mean, last week I missed my breaking point, took somebody out, apologised straight away, and they're all saying, look, don't worry, it happens, you know. But super set of friendly guys, and your commentary, well, it cracks me up. It really does. When I watch it back, and some of the things you come out with, I think it's priceless. But can I just give a mention to what liveries I've got on my car?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm trying to promote marshalling within the esport side of things. So obviously we've got our Orange Army Racing, and we're connected through the BMMC, which is the southeast region of the national marshals, and just trying to make awareness that marshals can go out, get drivers out of cars, extract them from burning ones, but we can also race as well. And anybody that wants any information on marshalling, just drop me a bell at some point. I'll be more than happy to oblige with the details.
Yep. Jim's been kind enough, Steve, to get a very close-up of the livery of yours on screen, which is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, thank you for giving that mention to them. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
No, that's not a problem. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable. And I just can't wait for the next one.
So,
the only one I'm not looking forward to is Thruxton.
Oh, Thruxton's a blast. You're going to have a blast in his car there. But look, I just want to tell you congratulations, because we have had a little fun with your starts along the way this season, and and you have been. But I will say that during the race, Tom pointed out what a great night you were having and a great run, and yeah, just congratulations as you're starting to find your pace with these cars. They are different, but they are a blast to drive, and you got some good circuits coming up. Thruxton in this car is a lot of fun, actually. As long as you know the track, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've marshalled there. I've not driven it, so I'll have to be putting quite a bit of practice in for that one.
We've got Phillip Island next, though, Steve. Have you had any practice on that circuit in previous cars as well as this?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've gone through, the only one I haven't gone through on your calendar, I've gone through all the circuits, just driving them. The only one I haven't had time to do is Thruxton. So yeah, I've got a bit of background to the tracks now, so hopefully shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully.
Well, it's been a good season so far. I think you've got better and better each week, Steve, so I'll happily take my words back, because I do think you have improved week after week after week. So
yeah, you've got to be careful what you say, because obviously next time I see you at Festival of Speed, we'll be having words in paddock.
Hey, listen, I'll treat you to a nice drink or something.
Oh, you never did last time. Right, I'll hold you to that.
Okay. No,
Thank you very much.
I'll make sure I get you one at some point. Don't worry about that.
As tight as Tom is, if you get a drink out of him, you let me know, all right?
Oh, I'll let you know. Don't you worry about that.
Either way, Steve, thank you and well done tonight. That was a good performance, and we'll talk again next week.
Thank you very much indeed, both of you, and your commentary is outstanding. Thanks a lot for what you're doing.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
A fun character, eh?
Indeed.
Let's bring in the man. Oh, not Luke Maxwell, sorry. He finished in second place. Let's speak to John Hutchison, who finished in second position. John, a few weeks, I think, since we last spoke to you. I don't think you spoke to us last week at Charlotte Roval, but you, finished in second here today. Good result, don't you think?
Yeah, good race, enjoyed it. Bit hot again as usual, but Luke was phenomenal tonight. Really, really quick, so couldn't catch him. Too many slowdowns in the end when I had the chance to run him down, but not to worry.
Yeah, I was just saying to Jim that, was it fourth position that you started, or was it third? I can't remember.
Third.
Third, yeah. I was saying to Jim that if you got second out of it, I think you would happily take it.
Yeah, the way it was at the start, we're all on the train, so you just got to hold on to the train, and then I got to slow down and lost Luke and Ivan, and they played well together. The two cars go faster than one, so they got a good gap on us, 4 seconds or something. So, and heard Ivan got a speeding fine in the pits.
Yeah, it looks like he did, yeah. So that killed him, obviously. So, John, you and Paul Crabb were running together there towards the end of the race until he spun. I really thought if you two could have stuck together nose to tail, that you could have run Luke down. Like you said, 2 cars are faster than one, and we were watching you close that gap. Just unfortunate that you lost your running mate there.
Definitely. If Paul had stuck with it, we could have definitely caught Luke, gave him a run the last couple of laps, but I think he lost it, and he lost it a couple of times. And clawed back, and then next time he lost it, I seen smoke, so he really lost it.
Yeah, it was a bad spot. He just, typical Le Mans spin there, got back on the gas, rear end hopped around on him, just something that happens here a lot.
Yeah, look, it was quick. He had good pace tonight, so it's a pity, but that's the way it goes.
We've reached the halfway point in the season now, John. How have you found this season? Because I think it's just one race win you've had out of a possible 13.
Yeah, the boys are getting quicker now, or I'm getting slower, one of the two. Then probably the latter, to be fair. But
I'll let you make your own opinion on that.
I'm still enjoying it though, and that's the main thing. Steve Webb was just saying there how he's enjoying the league, how much him and his friend Darren are enjoying it. But there's always respect. Accidents happen in racing, but we just got on with it and forget about it.
Anyone want to shout out to John before we let you go?
A shout out to Luke, who's racing tonight. That was the full fastest lap, pole position and race win tonight. So well done to Luke.
Yeah, he did a super job, Luke. No mistakes whatsoever, and no mistakes from you either. And so it's game on in the championship. That's for absolutely 100% sure.
Yeah, it's tight. There's 4 of us in it, so 5. So nothing in it really. Looking forward to it.
And we'll return to the conventional format next week at Phillip Island. Thank you very much, John, and we'll speak to each other next week.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. And we'll now speak to today's race winner, Luke Maxwell, here at Le Mans. Luke, how was that race for you?
Yeah, quite good. I think it all came together, didn't it? I think once John got his slow down and I managed to push Erwin along a bit and get in the tow and keep up with him, we were able to kind of get a bit of a gap. And then unfortunately for Erwin, he kind of messed up the pit stop. So yeah, all went as well as it could have done.
Yeah. Was there any point in that race where you felt like it could have gone in a different way to how it's gone? Because obviously you went side by side with Ivan Bremer, as you can just see on screen. But did you feel at any time that, considering how close the field were, especially the top 6, did you sort of think to yourself, I could end up in the lead and going amazingly well for me, which is how it's played out tonight, or it could have gone in a rather more disastrous fashion, in a similar fashion to what it's been for Ivan Bremer, Paul Crabb and co?
Yeah, I think it was a case of trying to drive kind of within yourself for those first 4 laps or so, make sure you didn't get any slowdowns and don't push the tyres too hard and keep it facing in the right direction. I didn't want to drop back too far. John was very patient. He seemed very happy just to sit there in third and see how things panned out. And obviously, as the field didn't really spread, did it much, So it was just a case of holding it out, really, just thinking, well, try and almost just put the laps in and wait for the pits. But then as soon as John made the mistake and dropped back, and Erwin and I had that gap, it was then time to push and get as big a gap as we could. Obviously, if you're working in pairs, you can get the draft together and extend the gap for somebody driving on their own. So I think Paul came and tried to help John a bit by the sounds of it, and he was catching up at one point when I was out after the pit stop. I was a bit nervous then. But then once, I think, and then I got a slow down, so I think John was within just over 2 seconds at one point. I thought, 2 laps to go. That's, he's probably going to be getting the draft very soon. So, but then luckily, I think he made a mistake, and then it was relatively comfortable, relatively as it can be.
I've asked this question to a few drivers already. How have you found the first half of the season? Because I feel like you've stepped up your game with the mistakes being more minimal this time. You're always improving. You're always getting better. Always trying to, be a bit better in the car. Yes, less mistakes. There's been a couple of incidents this season for me. I think I missed the first 2 races, so I'm unfortunately already sitting on some kind of 2 drop rounds. So I've got to attend every race and be as good as well as I can in all of them. I might have to miss Thruxton though, which kind of would put the kibosh on the championship. But we just keep going. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself and just
drive every race as it comes, really. I think, and just a bit of practice, get used to the car. I seem to be finding some performance in sort of practice, so I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, really.
Phillip Island, the next round on the calendar, hot or not for you?
Not.
Really?
Well, I'd get round there, but we'll have to put a bit of practice in. I've not done masses of races at Phillip Island, so I think somebody put in the Discord I'd spent like equivalent of about a month in on circuit at Le Mans in various cars since Garage 61 came on the scene. So yes, it's I've done a few laps around here. Probably Phillip Island, I've probably done probably less than 30 or 40. So we'll have to do a few, get some practice in, and give it my best shot.
It's a fast-flowing circuit, and it's definitely going to be one where you need to get those laps in. Anyone want to shout out to Luke before we let you go?
I'm going to give a shout out to the new guys in the league. I think we was talking to Steve just before we came in here, and he's really enjoying it. The sort of friendliness of the league, the driving standards. The fact that people make mistakes and go out, but nobody's going to beat anybody up for it. So shout out to the new guys. Welcome to the league, and the more the merrier.
Well, Luke, well done again today. I think that's 3 wins, or 3 feature race wins in a row, if you want to call it that, with Imola and Charlotte Roval. You are very much on a roll.
On a roll, yeah. Long may it continue, eh?
Long may it continue.
I'll
anyway,
go to the ball next week.
okay. We'll let you go, mate. Well done. And we'll talk again next time out at Phillip Island.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, all the best.
Thank you very much. And what a round we were treated to there. Luke, clearly a happy man. Steve Webb, a happy man as well, as were John and Mike, who we just spoken to at the present moment. But a good round, I would say, for the drivers. Definitely a learning curve, I think, for the league itself, because I stand by the fact that it's not a round I'd put on the wish list for next season, because we didn't really see enough from that round itself. But I'm glad we've had the experience, Jim, don't you think?
I do, yeah, and I was super excited for this race, and I'm glad we did it, like you said. But yeah, I mean, just looking back, you and I've done a couple seasons together now of this, and I've done a lot of radical races over the last year or so. I have to say, even like Knock Hill last year, not a track that's well known at all, but as far as quality of racing goes, to me that was, is a lot more exciting. This was a cool special event kind of thing, but I think this is when you chalk up to, not necessarily suited for these cars. And it may be fun if you had 60 cars out there or something, but I just think that there's better circuits for better racing for this group.
And answering the reason why Stefan Millis had gone back into pit lane is because the engine had gone for him. So I think maybe when he had the spin, the engine was just cooked.
Oh, yeah, well, he might have, what do they call it? I forget what they call it now. Some kind of we accidentally downshift at the wrong time, and it pops the motor. I forget what they call it, but anyway, yeah, probably that kind of situation for him. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, his bad luck season continues as our defending amateur champion. Hopefully, he can pull himself out and right the ship a little bit.
I'm confident he'll be able to do that. But with 3 feature race wins in a row, who can stop Luke Maxwell? Find out more next week when we do race at Phillip Island. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in. Do make sure you like and subscribe, and you can keep right up to date with all the action within JB Broadcasting, and you will not miss a thing. Thank you very much as well to Jim for being in the commentary position alongside me, even with the audio issues we've had throughout the evening. But nevertheless, it's been a fun night of action, and we'll look to do more of that in 7 days' time. I am Tom Cairns with Jim Cunningham, and we'll speak to you again soon when the Radical SR8 Championship returns.